The Towson University Tiger men's lacrosse team played the CAA Championship this past weekend. We'll see how they did. The Tiger Lacrosse Report starts now.
For an athlete, there's nothing scarier than a torn ACL.
Athletes trust us with their care and their careers because we're a recognized leader in sports medicine.
Get back to your active life sooner with MedStar Sports Medicine.
White Market's ice cream plant is based in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, and is locally owned and operated. We've been making our ice cream for nearly 50 years. We create roughly 70 flavors of ice cream right now. We use local ingredients, especially our cream, which is from our milk plant. The cream is what gives our ice cream a rich and creamy texture. Now, together with our customers, we've created a product called Peanut Butter Indulgence, which will be coming out this summer. It's a peanut butter ice cream with sea salt caramel swirl and chocolate-covered pretzel. How can you go wrong with that? Personally, I love our ice cream. If you come to our house at any given time, you'll find at least 5 packets of ice cream in our freezer. Our kids grew up eating Wise quality ice cream, and now we get to treat our grandchildren to it. It's been a pleasure for me to be tasting ice cream for over 40 years for Wise Markets, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Welcome, fans, to this year's final edition of the Tiger Lacrosse Report. I'm your host, Spiro Morekas, along with the head coach of the Tigers, Shawn Nadelen. And coach, the Tigers playing in the CAA Tournament this past week up in Amherst, Massachusetts. Opening game in the semifinals, you take on Delaware. Your team builds up an 8-4 lead, but you got to give the Blue Hens credit because they didn't go away. They stuck around and ended up tying this ball game.
They did. You know, they were obviously playing like a desperate team because they were. You know, they're down 4 goals in the semifinal, and you know, both teams had to win to continue to play and move on. So they did a great job turning up the heat. We had some pretty sloppy play, some unforced turnovers from our own part. Probably should have called a timeout, you know, when it got to 8-6, just to see if we needed to calm down and then press the reset button a little bit. You know, they did a good adjustment at the face-off X, which we had seen before, but we just didn't do a great job, you know, playing against it and stuff like that. But obviously, a lot of credit to Delaware for making it a fight and then getting it tied up and everything. But I'm extremely proud of our guys to continue to have the resolve and not get flustered by the big comeback and then going to overtime for the game.
And then in overtime, Matt Severo with the game winner as the Tigers win it 9-8. And when you look at a game like that, from an emotional standpoint, is it better for your team to win a game like that, or is it better for a team to win 9-5, or does it not make any difference moving on to the next ball game?
In a semifinal like that, having a game where maybe you can win 9-5 and the last 2 minutes or so you can kind of get your starters out, so it's maybe not as high stress or you worry about injuries and things like that. You can get those guys out. An emotional game like that can definitely have its toll as well. You know, where it's, you know, you got that 8-4 lead, you're feeling okay, and then boom, they come rushing back, and then guys are, you know, on the edge of their seats and in pins and needles, and we end up winning, and it's a, you know, it's a big celebration, and the guys are pumped up to go to the championship game. But again, it took a lot of the emotion and a lot of energy, you know, from us to do that, and then the quick turnaround leading into Saturday, you know, does that potentially have an effect on you? Maybe. I mean, you look at UMass last year. You know, they have a game right at the end of, or a goal right at the end of regulation, you know, and that's a huge, you know, obviously win for them in the semifinal to get them into the championship game, and did that, kind of affect, their mentality a little bit going into the championship game. So who knows?
So now you play UMass on their home field, a team that had beaten you 8-4 earlier in the season, in a game that wasn't that wide of a gap. I mean, it was a tight game all the way through. They scored a couple empty net goals at the end of the game. But you knew that offensively you had to play better than you did the first time when you were up in Amherst back on April the 14th. How do you think your offense performed this time as compared to game one against UMass?
Well, we definitely opened up stronger. We came out and got the first 2 goals, really, really good shots where we wanted to put them. And then UMass kind of makes their run. Offensively, it was tough. I thought we were able to generate some pretty solid looks. At times we didn't put them where they needed to be, and their goalie is playing very hot right now. Scanoni, I think is, at this point in time, probably one of the best goalies in the country.
They've won 11 straight games.
Yeah, and he's been a big piece to it, and he's only been a part of the CAA games, starting in the second quarter against Delaware, after one game already into the CAA. But he's given them a huge boost, a lot of confidence, in his play, but the guys around him. So he's tough to get the ball past. He had 16 saves against us. I mean, I think we had 49 shots, and again, we knew shooting the ball fundamentally sound and in good spots was going to be key against a really good defense and goalie, and then we just didn't do that well enough.
The one thing, though, that you guys did do that you didn't do first time against UMass is, first off, Alex Woodall had a very good day against Noah Rack, who was considered the best face-off man in the conference. Mm-hmm. Alex winning 14 out of 23. And you didn't turn the ball over. You only had 8 turnovers for the game, which was way below your season average.
Yeah, so that was nice. The turnovers when we had them was kind of painful. For Alex was definitely much better. He was more disciplined and patient and ready to go against Rack this time around. But he had 2 of those 8 turnovers, on key possessions late in the game, and just errant passes where we didn't need to rush it. He could have just handed it off to the attackman or whoever. And then those are big. I mean, any turnover is usually big, but as the game wears on and possessions become more vital if you're looking to mount a comeback, those were big, and that definitely hurt our opportunity to get some momentum, to get some, to string a run together. But Alex was definitely better at the X, which helped us be in the game better.
So the Tigers lose 12-8 to UMass in the CAA final. That ends the streak of 3 consecutive Towson championships. But you guys did make it back to the championship game, so you can't hang your head that the season was a total loss, because you did have a shot to go to the NCAA tournament going into the final game. You finished at 7-8. You played as tough a schedule as anybody in the country. This was a team that, when you look back, last year's Final Four team was very, very experienced. You basically lost your entire offense coming into the season. You lost your goalkeeper. You knew that there's going to be some growing pains with this squad, but overall, when you look back, how do you assess the season?
Yeah, there were definitely growing pains throughout it, and as expected. I feel like where we were in the fall and where we kind of started in the preseason wasn't quite, where we wanted it to be. That the fall, I thought we had some pretty good progression. We had a good idea of maybe who we were, and when we came back in the preseason, guys we didn't do enough work over the offseason to be ready for that. During the course of the year, obviously the Hopkins game was kind of our worst game right out of the gate, but we saw steady progress, steady increase in play, but we were also consistently inconsistent, in regards to our production, our turnovers, certain play, whether it be at the face-off or offensively or defensively, things like that. So, that definitely hurt us, and that was indicative of our final game, the CAA championship. We were inconsistent, defensively we weren't great. We were better at the X than we were previously, which was a good thing. Offensively we were okay, but, still didn't shoot the ball as well as we should have. And, again, it's just, the good thing is that we got a lot of guys experience, and a lot of those guys are coming back. So we're excited about that. Those guys, I'm sure, are going to be extremely hungry, knowing what they kind of left at the table. But for this team, through everything they went through with the course of the season, and especially mid-season heading into CAA play with, some off the field issues we had to deal with and suspensions and things like that, for them to find each other, for them to rally amongst each other and know that they had enough talent, enough fight, enough belief in that locker room and on the field to put together a run and to get Towson Lacrosse to the CAA championship was really impressive. And I give the team all the credit for that, because they could have easily just kind of packed it up and not wanted to try to put the effort in. But they showed their heart and their passion. So very pumped up for that and excited for the future. There's no doubt about it. Would have liked to get those seniors. It was a really successful class. One more ring to finish off 4 great years for those guys. But when you look at our schedule and our body of work throughout the year, and you look at the NCAA tournament, we had 8 losses. 7 of those 8 losses are in the NCAA tournament right now. So, we're playing some pretty good competition. So we're going to stay true to that, and we're right in those games, except for the first one against Hopkins. So, we know we're in a good spot, and we just got to continue to work to get better.
We want to thank you for everything you've done for us this year, and we look forward to next season where these young guys are a little more grizzled, as they say, and could be a great season next year for the Tigers.
Absolutely. Thank you. My pleasure.
So for head coach Shawn Nadelen, I'm Spiro Morekas. Thanks for watching this final edition of the Tiger Lacrosse Report. As always, go Tigers. We'll talk to you soon.